Here, nothing in life is to be feared, it's only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. Mary Curry. Okay? So, nothing in life is really supposed to be feared. Not really supposed to fear anything. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I feel like fear is just like not really believing in God. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the only fear you should have is God in the world. You know what I'm saying? So everything else is just gonna happen. People have fear of failure. You can't be afraid to fail. Like, you have to know that failure is gonna happen. It's the only thing that's gonna happen. If you try. Those that don't try don't fail anything because they never try anything. You can't fail anything if you never try. So it's like, bro, what are you doing right now to put yourself in situations where you're actually failing? I'm saying, like, are you even putting in the work right now to fail? Or are you just going through the motions, hoping that something works out because it's supposed to for you? Because you feel like you're special, or because, you know what I'm saying? Like, or because it's something that happened. Like, you gotta put the work in. Nobody cares, right? Like, I used to think for a long time, bro, I'm gonna make it just cause, or other relationships that I had in my life are gonna get me to where I need to go. You can't bank on the past. You have to do every day. You have to prove to yourself every single day why you're where you're at. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's important to know. Because, like, if you don't prove, like, where you're at, then you got to prove it to yourself. I feel like the people that put pressure on their system, and, like, they go in and they prove to themselves every single day that they're going to be successful. Those people, they have like a championship mentality. Like, they're not okay with just being okay. They know that there's extra work that they could be putting in right now that they might not be putting in. Champions have the mindset of, I'm gonna keep going even if I win or lose, I'm gonna learn something from this. I was talking to, my team, and I was just breaking down. I was like, look, because we're in sales, so sales is a transfer of belief. If you don't believe in what you're selling, then it's not gonna work. So we sell life insurance, actually. So we sell life insurance, and basically I was telling them, I'm like, look, when you look at yourself in business, you have to realize that business is competitive, right? So if you're in business, you have to remember that there's going to be wins and losses in your day, right? And we track these numbers by breaking down what they have done, what they haven't done, how many calls, appointments, things like this, presentation sales, how much money per sale, things of that nature, right? So we break all of this stuff down. So when you don't sell someone, or you don't close, or you don't accomplish what you are trying to do, then you can't look at it like, I failed, right? Maybe you have to look at it like, where could I have improved? Where could I have done better to be able to potentially impact that client? Or what could I have done differently to impact that client? Rather than, like, beating yourself up about things that were out of your control. So you can't really go back into the past and beat yourself up about past failures. You have to look at your W's and your L's, wins and losses, right? So, like, if you have a W, that's a win, right? But your losses, you're not losing anything, right? With experience, you learn. And just like if you're a student in class, you're learning, right? You might have failed maybe your first test, but even when you picked up a pencil the first time, you couldn't use it the right way. You didn't know what you were doing. When you picked up a basketball the first time, you probably didn't know how to shoot it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you gotta remember, you gotta start somewhere. And the only way for you to actually get ahead in life is for you to fail forward. There's a book, I think, by John Maxwell called Fail Forward. But it's just like, you have to fail forward in order for you to get to the next level. And sometimes it's gonna suck. The best advice that I got was to find a mentor. Find somebody that's gonna be able to help you. Someone that's gonna develop you. Somebody that's gonna be able to take what you're doing and max it out to the next level and push you to be great. Not somebody that's gonna call to you and let you do whatever you want. You need to have somebody that's gonna be able to coach you without you taking everything that they say personally. And sometimes you have to learn that the hard way too. I used to get coached and I'll be like, man, I would feel some type of way sometimes about it. But you have to remember that when somebody really wants you to be successful, they shouldn't hold back what they need to tell you that's going to be important for you to win. Like that's like if you're boxing and you're getting your ass kicked. You're out, you're like, yo, what is going on? Like you're losing. You're losing the fight. The coaches, whenever you go to the side of your corner, they're not going to say you're doing a great job, go out there and keep going and not give you any coaching. You know, they're not going to say, hey, he's getting you good, but you got this. No, they're going to tell you, come on, man, get your head in the game. Look, this is what you got to do. You got to move to the left. You got to he's trying to hit you with the uppercut. You got to dodge that, right? They're going to give you suggestions and tell you maybe, hey, stop throwing that, right? If you have a football coach, they're going to tell the quarterback certain things. Hey, look out for this. The quarterback might think he knows something, but he knows the coach is the coach for a reason, right? When you have a coach, that's what they're supposed to do. When you have a trainer, that's what they're supposed to do is teach you and give you solutions to your problems, right? So there's wins and learn. There's wins and there's learning lessons, right? There's wins and there's lessons, right? You can't take everything that you've gone through as a loss or that you not getting what you're supposed to get, right? Like, you got to know that there's a process to the prize. And I think a lot of people, they got this misconception where they think that the price or the prize is the prize, right? I know it might sound kind of crazy, but people think that the prize is the prize, right? But I feel like the prize is actually the process to get to the prize. I feel like the person that you become while you're going through the process, it's because the reason why I say that is because it's not about the prize that you get. It's about who you become on your way to the prize. And I feel like the higher the prize, the harder the process in a way where you have to kind of develop and process certain things to be able to get to what you want, right? Especially if it's a big thing, right? For me, like my prize is in my process because it became discipline, self-development. You know, what do I have to do to become in shape? What do I have to do to basically get everything that I need to get so that I can get to the level that I aspire to get? Because sometimes it takes becoming a different person for you to get what you want in life. Like you can't be the same person you were that made $100,000 if you're trying to make $1 million, right? Some things are probably gonna have to change in your process. Just like if you had a business and you might have had good sales one month prior or the previous quarter, and then this quarter your sales are low and you're trying to figure out why, right? Things should be going up, right? In life, we should be trying to progress and advance. So you have to be able to look at yourself and know, all right, what am I doing? How can I determine where I'm messing up at, right? And this is taking self-accountability, man. This sucks. I'm telling you, people hate. Oh man, people hate it. They hate it, dog. People do not like to be self-accountable at all, man. It's crazy because, you gotta think, man. People don't want to be self-accountable. They don't want to hold themselves accountable to what just happened, especially if it's not right. People do not want to be wrong. Like some people, okay, they can accept when they're wrong, but like some people have a really hard time. And that's okay, but that's something that you can be coached out of. That's something that you can coach yourself out of. But it's not to be like, take anything from everybody. But whenever you're listening to somebody that might have been through something or may have gone through what you've been through, and they're giving you advice on something to help you get through what they have possibly been through, it might be good for you to listen to them because I feel like a lot of people might have heard this quote before, but smart people learn from their mistakes, but wise people learn from other people's mistakes, right? And if you're learning from someone that you'd be willing to trade places with, then it's pretty much in your best interest to listen to their advice on that subject because they might actually be able to help you, right? They might actually know, hey, wait, I did that before too and it didn't work out for me. Not saying it's not going to work for you, but maybe try this instead. It worked for me this way, and this is how I got through that situation, right? So like, it's not saying you got to take everything that everybody's saying and just like do that, but be willing to be accountable and be willing to be coachable, right? So, you can't, fear of failure will paralyze you, The fear of failure will paralyze you, man. The moment that you decide, all right, I'm not gonna do this because this, or I'm not gonna, whatever it is. If you realize what's going on, if you realize, I had to turn my phone off real quick, but if you know the people at the top are going through failure, they're grinding, they're not taking days off. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy. Oh my goodness. Even just now, I'm over, right? I'm over here doing a video for y'all. And, like I said earlier, I'm in sales. Somebody just got a sell. On a Sunday, I'm recording this. So people could take time off, people can relax, people could chill. They can do whatever they want at the end of the day, but you gotta remember, the dogs will be dogs. The people that want it are going to get it. And the amount of input is gonna determine the outcome, right? So if you put in a lot of work, then you're gonna get a lot out. You gotta be willing to put in some work, man. And no one's telling you to drain yourself of all your energy in order for you to be successful and completely be a different person. But it's just knowing and understanding that you are going to change as a person regardless, right? People change. And it's not like, oh, people change in a bad way. It's bad to change. Think about if we never adapted as human beings to the times, right? Where would you be at if you didn't adapt and change? Extinct. You'd be gone, right? Think about it. All the other civilizations or species out there that aren't here anymore because they couldn't adapt, right? And it's unfortunate. Some of them were actually taken out with terrible circumstances out of their control. Sometimes you can't control to certain things, but what I'm saying is in order for you to grow and evolve in life, you do have to change. And if you're going to change, it's better to do it's better to change in the ways that are going to advance you to the next level rather than the things that are going to keep you where you're at. So if you're hanging with people that might not be getting you to the next level or helping you get to the next level, then it might be good for you to remove them from your life, get them away from you, or limit your time around those type of people, because they're not going to get it, right? They're going to see you changing and evolving as a problem because they're comfortable with the person that you were all those years. But you got to remember, it's okay that they're not comfortable with it, because it's not about their comfortability. And in order for you to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. You got to be uncomfortable a little bit. That's just how it is. In order for you to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. Just like what I was saying with working out, having a trainer. That's not going to be comfortable, right? In order for you to grow a muscle, you have to make it uncomfortable. You have to put it through physical strength training in order for you to grow, and then that's when you see the results. So you can't omit that type of factual information when you're going through the process of your life too, right? You have to know, in order for you to grow, you have to go through some type of failure, dog. It is what it is. People might not like hearing that. That's okay. And if you're that person that doesn't like hearing that, then this might not be for you. Maybe you shouldn't subscribe to the YouTube, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying this because I do understand, it's a process, bro. It's a process, man. Nobody wants to go through the process. You gotta go through the process in order to get the prize. If the prize is up here, the process gotta be up here. The process gotta exceed the prize. Because then when you get the prize, it's not gonna be worth it anymore. You're gonna be chilling now. You're gonna be good. Oh, okay, I'm good. No, you're not good. But you're chilling now because you got the prize and now you think you're good. I've had the prize before, not chilled out, then you lose your prizes too. You know what I'm saying? You don't get, if you don't appreciate and grind for what you got, you end up losing that shit. I'm telling you right now, you do. And it's not oh man, you lose it because you don't care about it, but it's just when you stop doing what you did to get it, that's when you lose things, right? And then you want it again, right? So this could be all types of different things in your life, right? This could be from material things to, personal things. But at the end of the day, you just have to remember that if you're putting in the work for the process ends up being the biggest reward. So don't slow down while you're in the process and get upset or beat yourself up when you start to have a lesson, right? Don't look at it like a loss. Remember, we're changing the word loss to lesson, right? So when you start to have a lesson, don't beat yourself up because you had to learn. Take the learning and understand that it's what's gonna happen. It's a part of the process. You gotta trust the process. You gotta believe the process is gonna work in order for you to get to what you need to get, which is the prize. If you try to avoid the process, you might get the prize. Some people, they avoid the process and they get the prize. They don't have to go through the same process you went through. But that's not it. Everybody's process is different, right? Like we're all processed the same. We're all born pretty much the same way, right? C-section or a normal birth. But at the end of the day, like when we come out, we look different, right? So we all kind of went through the same process to be born and be here, right? But in order for us to have the prize at the end of it is different than everyone else's, right? And everyone didn't go through the same process to get here either. I know this might be I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly. I feel like I am, to those that can travel with me here and follow along with me. Don't get lost in this. But look, you got to know that part of it. You got to know that it's all a part of the process, and the prize is going to be different for everybody. The process is different for everybody. It might not be as soon as you want it to be, but I don't know about y'all, but I call up to a higher power when it comes to these type of things, because it's not in our control. Some things we just have to know that the work that we're putting in is going to be worth it, and that it's going to mean something. Because at some point, what you do may impact someone, and actually it is going to. It ain't may, it is. Think of everything that you do in life. It's going to impact somebody one day. If you think of everything that you do that way, you start to realize that your daily decisions, your daily habits, your focus is much more important. You start to value your focus more. Like you don't hang and you don't do certain things that you used to do with your time, because you start to realize that your time should be spent on the process rather than, enjoying prizes all the time. Like, you got to realize that there's certain goals that you're supposed to have that are short term and there's long term, right? But people celebrate way too soon, and that's why they don't keep the prize and they don't keep doing what they did to get that prize, because they lose the drive, because that's all it was about. Try to focus more on developing yourself. Focus more on getting through the process, because if you get through the process, you will end up getting the prize in yourself too, right? Like you're gonna be a different person. So, for me, it was just like, zone in, bro. Like, zone in. What are you thinking about? What are you focusing on right now? What's so important that you can't do what you want to do. And there's nothing in this world really that you can do that someone else can't do, or vice versa, right? Like, it's pretty calculated how it would have to be in order for you to be exactly as talented as someone like LeBron James, or accomplish the same things as some other type of sports athlete, or any scientist, or some certain things in life might be a little bit different to accomplish, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. It is possible because someone else did it. The only things that are impossible are things that haven't been done before, right? So it's like, if someone else can do it and they got the same 24 hours that you do, what's stopping you from being the same, or getting the same results that they got, or even better, or close, right? Like, what's stopping you? Like, you gotta take your limitations that you put on yourself and get rid of them. You gotta throw those shits in the garbage. They're not serving you. They're not helping you get to where you want to go. So you gotta remove them, because they're not helping you. It would be different if they were, but they're not. So those limiting beliefs that you say to yourself, like, you can't, or you feel like, oh man, I wish I could, or the I hope so's, or I'm gonna try, right? Like, no, get that shit out of your mind, dog. You ain't gonna get to the next level thinking that way. With that type of self-limiting conversations, like the conversations you have with yourself are a lot more important than people want to realize, dog. The conversations that you have with yourself are so much more important than I feel like the conversations you might have with other people. Because I feel like conversations with self are equivalent to conversations within the subconscious and conscious mind, right? Like consciously, you could be telling yourself something, and then subconsciously, you're also absorbing that as well, and then it becomes real. Like you could actually take a thought and make it happen, right? But you could also have a thought and it just becomes reoccurring. And then you keep telling yourself this, right? And then it's a story that you tell yourself, right? It's just like the things that we went through in our lives, we tell ourselves these things and then they become our identity, right? Like whatever happened to you in your life that you went through, good or bad, you use that and now it becomes your identity. Sometimes you have to erase that and try to create a new identity for yourself, which is why you have to develop yourself and become a different person in the process of this, right? And this is what I mean by getting to that next level. Like if you start to think of it that way, it makes more sense as to why you'd be perceived different after, you know, accomplish or on your journey to accomplish something. But you're not gonna be able to be the same person, especially if the thing that you're trying to accomplish is up here. You gotta realize that it's gonna be a little bit harder than something that's down here. Like if the goal is to wash the dishes, that's pretty easy, right? But if the goal is to create your own dishwasher, that might be a little bit more difficult, right? I don't know why I thought about dishes, but something simple, something everybody can understand. You guys get what I'm saying, right? I just try to make up analogies that I feel like y'all get. Because too many people overcomplicate this shit. They really do. And it's like, I did too. I feel like everybody has at one point. But then something clicks in your mind or something happens and it makes you fucking get excited. It makes you realize like, yo, it's time to go now. You can't wait anymore. You can't be chilling. Like, you gotta know, bro. It's time to zone in and make some shit happen. Because sometimes some people wait until something happens for them to make some shit happen. That's when it gets hard. Right? And now it's like, fuck. Now you're beating yourself up. Right? But you can't do that. You can, maybe for a little bit, but then you gotta realize, all right, now what do I gotta do? Let me find a solution, because sitting here and being mad or upset about it isn't going to help me right now. Find a solution. Find someone that's been through what you are going through and ask them for advice. Don't be afraid to ask other people for things. We're human beings. This is who we are. We need other people in order for us to survive, because that's who we are, man. We're not like otters. Otters, I heard, otters they pair up for the rest of their life or something like that, right? So we're not otters, but we do socialize and we need socialization. We need to communicate, right? That's what makes us humans. So I feel like after COVID, a lot of people might have isolated themselves for real. They use that as an excuse to really just say, hey, peace, I'll see y'all virtually, man. You know what I'm saying? I work from home. I do a lot of virtual work and stuff like that. So for me, I get it. When you go out, I like talking to people. I'm trying to say what's up to somebody, grab someone. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just live like that. You can't live in isolation, especially with your problems. I feel like first you talk to God and then you talk to others. Right? But you have to make sure that you have a conversation and know that the conversations that you have with certain individuals can be very valuable to you. if you use them the right way. If you look at what someone's telling you that's been through what you've been through, you're going to understand a lot easier than, like, or you might not understand a lot easier, but you should perceive what they're saying more realistically than someone that hasn't been where you are and trying to help you get through it, right? Like, the best person to listen to, if you're an alcoholic and you don't want to be an alcoholic anymore, the best person to listen to is probably an alcoholic or someone that used to be an alcoholic and they're sober. Been sober 20 years. Oh, wow, how'd you do it? I'll tell you. You know, like, now they have suggestions. They have someone that they can look up and say, you know what, this person did it, I can too. If someone else has the same 24 hours that you do, what is there to fear? If they accomplished it, what makes you think you can't? Your fear of failure is holding you back, and it's leading to procrastination. Why do you think it takes me so long to put videos out and do content and stuff like that? Because I don't want to fail, man. I don't want to put it up and no one sees it. You know, it's the little stuff. Oh, someone's going to comment something stupid. Bro, who cares, man? I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was like, you can't think about what people care about you. You know, it's going to hold you back, man. I'm like, I don't think about what people care. And then someone said something, and I said something back to them, and it started to explain why I said it. They're like, see, look, you care about what people think. I was like, oh, shit, I do. Like, I realized it. I was like, yo, that's wild. Because, like, maybe I don't care about what people think in certain aspects, but in others I do, right? So it's like, okay, why is this? Let me self-analyze, accept that someone else outside of me is seeing this and that they're being real enough to tell me some shit, right? Like, bro, you gotta remember, somebody wins when you win. Somebody wins when you do good, right? Like, when you win, someone else is winning too. Somebody else is happy, right? Think of it that way. Like, you gotta remember, it's not always just you that you're doing what you're doing it for. Like, when you do certain things, you're leaving an impact. No matter what it is you're doing, you're gonna leave an impact. So don't limit yourself in your mind.